We have two guests that have come up and are in the program today. They're going to come join us here, and I will get this out of the way. So I'll let you ask the questions here because you guys are currently in the program and helping out. Is that right?
Actually, Jacob's the program manager, and he was in the program. And Nicole is the Women's House program manager. So, and he's the CARES manager.
Yeah, so I entered in recovery in January of 2024 and was through detox and going to another recovery program through the county DVR up in Clayton. And being from Solano County, when it was time for me to, transition out of recovery back to life, I could not go home. And there was not proper funding in Solano County for SLEs or anything like that to housing, right? So I was looking at going back to being homeless. And at that point, and I've never heard of Restore at this point, this is my first time going through recovery at 45 or 44 at that time. There was never a want for help. There was just my will. I was just going to do it until I was content to die like that. And at that point, I shot out a prayer, and Restore was dropped in my lap the next morning by my counselor. And it has been nothing short of miraculous, this entire journey that I've been on, to go from what I so vividly remember being to something so completely different. And ask to stay now and actually impart that with the guys that are coming through. It's overwhelming. Not something I ever saw myself doing, any kind of leadership roles or anything like that. I couldn't take care of myself, my children, my marriage, anything. Why would anybody trust me to do this when this is so vitally important in taking people that are so broken and in such a place of no hope, just complete hopelessness, and then showing them just by example. I mean, I don't even have to talk to them. They just see me in the house as we go through devotions, and we share about ourselves, and we talk about God and what God's doing in our lives, and the outreach with the More Than a Meal and the CARES team, and going to talking to people and being a part of something greater than myself. And they just see these things. And that's, I've found, is the best way to convey what was given to me to them. They just witness these things, and I get to see the growth in them, which fuels me to stay right where I'm at, as uncomfortable as I get sometimes. Because that's what I truly do live for now. I want to see these moments happen right in front of me. I want to be a part of that. I don't want the recognition. I just want to witness it. Mm-hmm. And to be able to be part of that is just phenomenal.
Nicole, do you want to introduce yourself and your role at Restore and your kind of journey?
My name is Nicole Rogers. I'm the house manager of the women's aftercare home at Restore. I came to Restore in 2020. When I came to Restore, I was in active addiction for 18 years. 7 of those years, I lived outside. I labeled myself an outsider. I lived in a tent for a lot of those 7 years. Towards the end of my addiction, I was pregnant, and my daughter's father died of a fentanyl overdose. And in the wake of his death, I knew that I had to then save myself to save my unborn child. And so I went to a program, did all that. Well, after I had my baby, she got taken when she was 17 days old, due to my history of drug abuse and uncertainty of my mental stability. Um, I got myself into a program. I did all that, and then I wasn't really sure about where I was going to go after the program. I knew that I didn't want to use anymore because of what happened to my daughter's father, and well, I was just scared at that point because death was too close, you know. Um, so after that, I was at a CFT. It was like this meeting that Child and Family Services like have around a table. Restore was suggested to me, and I got back to the program. I talked to my counselor. We found their number. We called. We filled out an application. I got an interview. We had an interview. I was waiting for the answer back, and then finally, they called me and said that they think that would be a great fit. So when I got to Restore, I was broken, and I remember walking in, and the first day I got there, I left for a little bit, came back, and when I walked in, one of the ladies was like, "Welcome home," and I felt kind of weird. I was like, "Hey," kind of. It didn't feel like I felt like I didn't understand that, but now today I sit here and I was like, "That's why they were saying it because it was home." Um, Restore has taught me so much. It has given me, because I've been in addiction for so long, like that was my way of living. Restore has given me time, hasn't been a time limit on me finding a new way of life. They've supported me through so many hurdles, through the passing of my mother. Um, and today I am the house manager. I get to support other women coming in. They see I've got the honor to share my story at least 8 times this year. um,
All in the last couple of weeks, it seems like you've been on.
and so yeah, so I get to mentor the ladies that are coming in, support them with their case plans. Um, we work close with social workers, CFS, support for recovery. Let's see. We also, I have the honor of being the house manager. I volunteer in the office. I'm a part of the admins team. They've given me job skills that I didn't have before. They also um, appointed me to this program called Spirit Program, and that's to go to Contra Costa College to become a community support worker. And today I am a community support worker. I work at, thank you. I work at the Office for Peer and Family Empowerment. And it's just an honor to be able to give the same support that was so freely given to me.
Amen. Amen. So one thing I want to highlight, 18 years, the folks who've come through Restore, it's been years and years and years of struggling. I think you said you like 45, you came to Restore, but it was like,
Of active addiction.
yeah. So praise God, this, and now they're the leaders of these homes and they're giving back to the community. So I want to talk about that, giving back to the community, a little bit more of cares, but I would like to know your thoughts on what makes Restore different. What hit you? When did it hit you? Hey, this is different. Yeah, I think you said this on the way over, like a month in. You go, this is different. Okay, Jake? Why don't you start off? What makes Restore different in your point of view?
So, like I said before, recovery was not anything that I had known. And going through DVR, I expected it to be pretty much what it was. I expected the jail mentality, bravado, a lot of ego, and masks trying to just bite their time until they can leave and graduate the program to appease the courts or their significant other, or get back to where they were and be a little more healthy while they're doing it. And that's, you know, there's people there that really wanted recovery and, you know, got those things. But when I got to Restore, knowing that it was faith-based and I had no relationship, no God in my life whatsoever prior to this, about a month in, when it really started to sink in that these people aren't hypocrites, they don't want anything from me. They've been through the trenches. They go back there willingly just to show love and support and to give hope to people. I was changed at that moment, and I knew that Restore was something very special, and I don't fully grasp just how special it is, I don't think, because, you know, a lot of the people I meet know so much more and have been involved in recovery for so much longer. You know, maybe somebody on the outside would understand better than me, but it's just, this is where I ended up. This is all I know now. But in looking around me and what other people need to go through and been through, this is, I mean, the sweet and precious time that you get to sit there and be still. Nobody likes being on blackout again. I mean, I just did 90 days on my butt with no phone, no nothing. And I'm going to come back and now I got to do, you know, another 90, just sitting there. And, you know, it was hard. But it was, now when I look back, I realized just how needed it was. I wasn't ready. I was ready to go to work right away, get back to what I was doing, and, you know, try to do what I wanted to do, what I knew how to do, which never worked. And I come to find out that, and the guys coming up through this too now, they don't like it either. And I just kind of chuckle and giggle. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Just sit there. Just wait. It'll happen. Please just don't leave. Because, you know, there's no locked doors. It's a choice. You know, I'll tell them till I'm blue in the face, don't do it. Don't do it. That you don't want to do this, just wait. But if they make that decision to walk out, and I actually had a guy do that. And right after he did some step work with me and ended up in the TL 3 days later, dead on the sidewalk. So, yeah, it was.
Nicole, what is your view on what made Restore different?
I feel like Restore is different because it's more than just a bed and a shelf. Some SLEs, you know, you go there, you pay a monthly fee, you get a bed, you get a shelf, you do your own thing. Restore is more, it's more like a family, you know, it's more of support. Like, you know, we do things together, we eat together, we you know, keep each other accountable. You know, we ask a lot of questions because we're nosy. Like, where are you going? What did you do today? What?
Accountability.
Yeah. We and I like that it doesn't put a time limit on a lot of places. Like, okay, you have 3 months to do this, so you have 3 months to figure it out. You have 4 months to figure it out. You know, so you're kind of like pushed in this corner. Like, okay, well, I have to have everything. I have to figure out how to live a normal life in 4 months, and I've been doing this for 18 years the wrong way. You know, so I like that it never pushed me in a corner and gave me like a time limit of how normal, or how, I don't want to say normal, but how normal of a life could I have within 4 months? You know, like I have 4 years clean, and I feel like I'm just thank you. I feel like I have the job that I didn't think possible. I have the skills that I didn't think possible, and I owe that all to Restore, and, you know, how much support that they've given me through all that, because I've never really had I don't want to say a real job, but a real job. I've worked at restaurants and you know, as servers, but they've given me time to go to school, have education, get a county paying job. Yeah, it's just a blessing. And they when my mother passed, that was was a big milestone, without not a milestone, but like that was a big time in my life where they supported me through that. And I'm not saying like the couple days that, I mean, I took at least 30, 40, 60 days to get through that, but they were there with me every step of the way, asking me, how am I doing today? You know, when I took care of my mother the last week of her, of her passing, I was there and they were very supportive. They knew where I was, they were very supportive of me being there. They just told me not to leave her side, because we knew that her days were numbered. And I just really appreciate them. If it wasn't for them and every way that they supported me, by calling me, by reaching out, by dropping off food, by everything that they did, I don't think that I would have probably stayed clean within all that time. So I really hold that dear to my heart.
Thank you. Thank you. Nicole, could you share a little bit, and then we'll get into the CARES program. How does Restore work with Child Family Services and the moms in the house and the reunification process? You can use your example or you can use others' examples.
Okay, so we have a really high success rate. The whole 4 years that I've lived there, every mother that's came to our house that's stayed and successfully finished her case plan has got her child back. One of the women I know, we were in programs together. Once I went to Restore, she soon followed behind because the SLE that she went to wasn't she said it was too much for her, but she wasn't even given services. So with Child and Family Services, if they don't think that you're going to reunify, and if they feel like you're too far gone in your case plan, they don't give you services, meaning that they don't suggest reunification. But with her, she just stuck it out. She stayed at Restore. She did everything she had to do. They never offered her services. She had to do everything on her own. But she did end up getting both of her kids back. And I feel like it was because of the support that she had to Restore. We work close with, because we interact with each other on a day-to-day basis, I'm a person that, a person of contact where I can write a character letter. I can tell the growth that I've seen in someone. I can, we also supervise the visits. So if they need to be supervised, loosely supervised, closely supervised, we're able to get that started for them so they don't have to go to the building, to the county building anymore. We could do it at home. They could do the walkthrough. We provide the crib. We provide the bed space. The high chairs. Sorry, you guys, I'm nervous. I'm starting to shake. The high chairs.
You're doing awesome.
Everything that a mother needs to, show that, like she's ready to take the next steps and is taking care of her child. We help her, we help them with, and yeah.
Very good. Thank you. Jacob, do you want to talk about launching the CARES program?
So while I was coming up through the program part of Restore, the executive director, Michael Sisler, had started to pick us up, me and a couple other guys, a day or two a week, maybe less often than that, and doing some outreach to the members of our church or the family members, like your sister. We went over there and helped her out through a really rough time, cleaned up her yard and stuff like that. And in doing so, and I come from a heavy construction background, so kind of like perfect timing. It was just at the start of it and being asked to stay, and now I head up the CARES team, so I'm a point of contact for people in the church, and it's reference, word of mouth at this time. Like you were saying, man, you need to help out, Michael likes to say, we helped a little old lady across the street. Some of the older members of the church have lost their spouse, or, they're strapped financially. They're on a fixed income. They can't afford to hire movers to come, pack up the truck and move them. Can't afford landscapers or, painting their house, things of that nature, just little odd jobs, handyman work, I call it. And it provides provides the guys coming through with an opportunity to understand and realize that they have worth, that they're not so far gone that nobody's going to trust them or talk to them or be genuine with them, and that was vital for me coming through. So I realized just how important that is, and would love nothing more than for them to have that click that, nothing goes to waste. It's going to be put to use as long as you choose. You got to make that choice, and yeah, it's nice. It really is. And it's not for this is a big part of it. It's strictly volunteer work. If they choose to make a donation, they can make a donation to the program, but there's no, hourly rate, anything like that. It's just another part of Restore. So,
And it's giving and blessing somebody, but then the guys get blessed by the community and the relationships you're building, right?
yeah. So this was one of the things I noticed when I first got the program too, is I realized that so many people pour funds and their time and their knowledge and everything into us at that house. And what I've received out of it, I cannot put a dollar amount on. And that's one of the most special things about this program, is that it's to give somebody like myself, like I was saying, that was just in my own mind beyond help, beyond human aid, period. And to nurture that back to health, and then to watch the fruit come out of that. And for now, I get to do the same thing for other guys is, yeah, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
Would you like to talk about how Restore works with guys coming out of the court system? Because I know that we've had, courts say, hey, you got to go through this thing. And then the next thing you know, the guy's records are clean and they're like literally freed, and like that process.
Okay, so yeah, the couple of guys, let's see. There was one kid that came out of jail and he was same age as my son is when I first got in the program, but he was facing some really serious charges. He came straight from, I believe, Alameda County Jail, and he was to stay there for a year, right? And he had, I want to say he had, no, let me speak here. I want to say 15 years hanging over his head if he walked away from this, and by the time he completed the program and his time there, that was gone. Probation was gone. And that's been a reoccurring thing too. There's a few more guys that have been doing the same thing. One of the guys that comes back on Monday nights and does a little study group with the guys in program. Similar stuff. He came from county jail, in and out of prisons his whole life. He was his last chance with the courts, and he was going to get a good chunk of time. And now he's, back on his own. He's got a family. His kids are come back. He's got a new relationship with his children. And he comes back and gives his time because he understands how precious this place is, and keeps him accountable as well. He tells it a lot as he comes in. He's like, I come here, to help you guys, but I need this too. He recognizes that it's it's a circle. It's a give and back, a give and take. Sorry, excuse me. So, yeah.
Great, thank you. Probably one last thing. What is your kind of, what's your hopes for the next season, 2025 with Restore? Either you can jump in.
My next hopes is for the women's house to be expanded, only because we only have room for 7 women. And there's a high demand for us now. Everyone wants to go to Restore. One of the ladies the lead resident that lives at Restore, she drives a van on Sunday mornings and picks up women from programs, takes them to church. And everybody in the van wants to go to Restore. Everyone in the van's like, oh, and then some of the people say, I'm going to Restore. And she's like, are you? Because her house is full. But yeah, so my hope is for us to get expand so we can have more women have the opportunity to, experience what I've experienced and have the support they need to get their children back. And because working their case plan is difficult, and it's even more difficult when you don't have a foundation to build on. You don't have somewhere to, like, you go to program, you get out, you can stay at SLE for about 3 months, 6 months, but then after that, your case is probably not going to close for the next 11 months. So you have to have a good foundation to stand on, to where they want to see that you have stable housing. They want to see that you have a job, like all this stuff that has to be in place before the case can even close, and Restore is giving that to every woman that's lived there. So.
Same. More, more beds, more resources, the right personnel, contacts, all of it. I mean, what we have now multiplied. Yeah.
Yeah, we're in a good place to kind of build upon. That's for darn sure. So there you go.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come and share this like inspirational message. It was so wonderful. Nicole, I had a couple questions for you. I feel a very kindred spirit with you. So one, how long can women stay at the house? I know that for a lot of women, like you were saying, their case won't close for 11 months, and they do need to show that stability so that they can get their children back. So how long can they stay? Is it until their case closes? And then I have one more question. What are your 3 biggest learnings in the last year from managing the house, right, in terms of what allows for the biggest shifts inside of these women?
So first, for your first question, there's not a set proximity. Like, we want to make sure the women are, we want the help build them up and make sure that they're successful once they leave. So there's not really a time limit on that. It's when they're ready. There's a lot of different women that come from different backgrounds, and some are ready sooner than others, and some need more support. And yeah, so we just want to make sure that they're going to be successful when they leave. And for next question, what was the next question? I'm sorry. Okay. What creates the biggest shifts is, I think, a lot of people, we are a Christian faith-based program, and a lot comes from, sometimes recovery is not the only thing they need. Sometimes they need a higher power. Sometimes they need something else to get them out of that, and we introduce that to them. If they're not familiar with, Christ, like, we introduce that to them and show them that this could be like, a stronger foundation to stand on in your recovery. And also, the women in the house, seeing the women come in, seeing them not have their children. And so say we have 3 new women. They come in around the same time, probably a month apart from each other. And just for the new women to see their group start receiving visits, start having overnights, and then we're all going through the same walk of life. Either we've been through it already and we're supporting each other. And I know this one instinct where a girl that lives with us, she was upset because her son was gonna be placed in another foster home. And then I was like, with my experience, I know that if they're babies, they don't really place them they don't really like to move them from place to place, And then she was crying. I was like, don't be upset, like it's all gonna work out, like because that's my experience. And she was like, no, they're gonna go come pick them up tonight. It just so happened that they called her that same day and told her that they were gonna place the baby with her. And then yeah, so like those shifts that the ladies get to experience and see, that's what they're working towards, gives them hope and lets them see that, and I was like, don't be discouraged because your day's coming. Just keep working, doing the work on your side, and it'll pay off.
Yeah, and to add on that, the joy on these wins is amazing. So yeah, when I'm talking to the other program manager, oh, we got a visit today, Mandy. It was so great. And just the joy of that, it's contagious. And I think, it really supports the whole process.
Thank you very much. Great program. And thank you both. Very inspiring. So I have a question for you, Jacob. You mentioned that what drives you, what has fulfilled you is to see the change that you felt, that you experienced, and then to see it, to presence that. And to me, it's very interesting. I've always been very intrigued to what inspires people and how people get inspired. I think it's sort of like a spiritual regeneration. So I was curious to learn more about that process. Like, how long did it take for you to feel that joy, that fulfillment as you saw people? Like, how long does it usually take to experience that joy of seeing someone change? And how can we, make others feel the same as you do by helping others? Because it's inspiration by seeing how people get helped and vice versa.
I don't think you can put any kind of time limit on something like that or any time frame. I mean, it takes as long as it needs to take. I mean, like for me, 44 when I hit program. 9/2 of last year, I was baptized and accepted him as Lord and Savior. And that took me so long to get there. I had to go through so much. And so, I was sharing a little bit of my testimony with one of the pastors from church, and he was saying that people would pay. You don't know what they would pay to feel what you feel like that. And I said, if I told them what it cost me to feel like this, they're going to turn and walk away. But I would pay it again now that I'm here. I don't know how to explain it any better than that. It's so as we go through these programs, a lot of them are based out of the big book. And they talk about the spiritual malady and God-sized hole that I'm born with. And I filled it with everything conceivable within my grasp and then some to try to fill that void until I found what filled it without hurting myself, without hurting anybody else, without causing any wreckage, without leaving that scorched earth behind me, because that's what I did. I burned everything in my path. I don't have to do those things anymore. He does those for me. Yeah.
You got one more question?
Yeah, I was just wondering for the women, is there an age range for the students or for the students, their kids that are coming in? Like you're saying, a lot of the women have like infants, but you guys accept women that have older kids into the program that for reunification?
We do accept women that have older kids. I believe the cutoff for that is 9 years old. But we do up to 9 years old. And there's two beds that mothers can have 2 children.
That's great. You guys, thank you so much. I know.